Good morning, everybody. Okay. All right. Grunting and groaning. Sunday fun day is underway. Where's Princess Kirsten? Come on, get over here. Everyone's waiting on you. While we're waiting on her, let's just move on. Let's just go. Let's do something, right? All right. What's that look for? You can be heat or something?
Yeah.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Sunday fun day is underway. We come to the very backs of our mat. We're going to bring our feet to the edges of the mat. We're going to kind of plant our heels in the corners of the mat and turn our toes in towards the midline of it and straighten out those legs as we begin to post power into the posterior chain here and also through the medial or inside muscles. We're going to do so by doing two things. I'd like you to try to push your heels away from the center line, and I'd like you to take the ball of each big toe and turn it down onto the mat. And keep that little pressurization we created for the heel and the big toe ball active as you take your hips, chop back, and bring your arms forward. So we're just going to move up and down or back and forward, basically, with the arms. And as we do so, we're going to focus on some other aspects of our body, which is our spinal column. I'd like you to kind of make it nice and long as we sweep up and keep it long as the arms sweep back. Now hold the arms up, open the palms to face the sky, draw the elbows into the body and pull the elbows all the way through to the back side of the body. Once they arrive there, I'd like you to give me a little bit of extra effort getting it back. And remember not to compress the neck. Our feet are still active, right? Push away the heels, push down to the toes. You have a little burning going on in the hips. That's great. When you hold that as you squeeze the elbows together and open the chest. And then release the elbows and squeeze them. So it's open and close, basically. It's just a small movement. We don't have to go wide with the elbows. Trying to keep those shoulders contracted, chest nice and proud, palms still facing the sky. Do a couple more repetitions, then hold back, serve it out. Fingertips to the baby fingers and forearms connect. Sweeping the palms towards the sky, bend the elbows and bring hands over heart. As you stand tall, step your feet forward. Wow, a lot of activity. Woo! Big word salad there. Now, let's take your palms, push them together, and we're going to rotate the palms down as they push, and then sweep them back up. So the pressure is what I want you to keep realized here. Now, as we do this, we're going to see an exhibit of behavior we typically don't like to see, which is the shoulders rounding forward. So this is more just to emphasize some of these front body muscles. And now we're going to create more opening. We're going to release the hands, shake it out, draw the shoulders up to the ears, open the palms to face forward, and then spiral the thumbs backwards. So now we have hands facing away from the body. Draw the shoulders up to the ears, straighten out those arms, and then use your thumbs as kind of pull points and pull back both of them simultaneously. It's like we're holding hands. We're just like lovers. All right, now if we pull back, I'd like you to proud out the chest. And then I'd like you to imagine now, I got a big cannon I just rolled up in front of you, big cannonball, about to fire off into your belly. Let's do something that protects those organs of ours. Fire up that six-pack. Keep it active as you sweep the hands forward, rotate the palms to face, bring them up about eye level. Nice. Now, rotate the thumbs down and then spiral them all the way up and open. So we're going to floss a little bit through the shoulders, and then we're going to add some dimension to this by sweeping the arms out gradually, a little step at a time. So as you rotate, move a little out more, move out a little more. So you get as far out as you can, and then hold. Rotate the palms to face the sky. Separate those fingers of yours widely. Nice. Now, use the thumbs to pull back, expand, and open through the chest. Lengthen through the neck. Take a big breath in and sweep your hands to the sky to salute the sun. Now, the orientation of arms, I don't want you to worry about getting them ratcheted all the way back. I like to have them slightly forward to have a nice lengthening through those lats of ours. I'm going to reach high and let the whole shoulder socket just kind of ascend, move away from the body, and then I can go draw the shoulders down and then push the hands back up. Now, if you need to be lower in the arms to keep them straight, find the spot that works best for you, but just out and in with the shoulders, and then hold back. Rotate the palms to face the earth, lower them down, shoulder height, and use the baby fingers now to guide open the hands. The arms are long. Yeah. Now, come back, thumb to thumb, touch, open back, and close forward. Try to keep the arms moving in the same plane. And when you reach all the way out, hold back, flip those palms back to the sky, and then flip them down. So just rotating, just kind of moving down. And now the movement of the arms is going to be down towards the body. So we're lowering the arms as we rotate them in and out. And then when you get down to your hips, arms are straight. Open the palms all the way. Expose as much as you can towards the side bodies or away from the body. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, salute the sun. And fold forward, all the way down. Extend to a flat back as you inhale. Exhale, flex that spine. Hang out a couple breaths. Float on the feet, forward and back. Try to find a nice equal distribution of weight between the front and back. And hold on that spot. As you exhale, let the spine go to flexion. As you inhale, extend. Exhale, flex. Inhale, extend. Exhale, flex. As you hold the extension this time, step your palms onto your shins. Now take your knees and bend them. And straighten them. And continue doing this. As you do this, I'd like you to put some pressure of the palm into your shin. Now, with the hips as high as you can get them, continue to push them to the sky as you bring extension to the spinal column and your neck. Keep those palms pushing into your shins. Try to grow and lengthen and decompress to that long spinal column of yours. Take a big breath in and try to straighten the legs as you exhale. Take a big breath in and try to straighten the spine as you exhale. Take a big breath in and drift your hips backwards as you exhale. Now, without toppling, I'd like you to hold on this for a couple seconds and enjoy that nice lengthening of those posterior muscles. And as you take your next breath in, unfold and salute the sun. Good morning. Bright, happy, shining faces. Relaxing the arms. Take a big breath in. Sweep to the sky. Powerful exhale, fold and walk all the way out to your plank. Walk the plank. A little bit of pirate talk there. Now, when we arrive in our push-up position, I'd like you to do the same things we practiced a little earlier. This time we're going to let gravity help guide us. So we're going to let the upper body, the torso, kind of guide down between the arms. And then we're going to use those strong muscles of ours to push the body up and away from the earth. And we're going to oscillate like a wave, up and down. Now, if the weight bearing is too much for your body, you can always be on your knees, right? And we're just working on shoulder mobility right now. So when we push up and away, it's internal rotation. And when we drift down, it's external rotation of the scapula. Lower the knees. Take the back of the head, pull it long, and then take your belly and pull it up and into the spinal column. And then as we go into cat-like position, I'd like you to draw that center spine
high to the sky, hollowing out the belly, keeping the neck relaxed, right? So it's just kind of dangling with the head. And as we maintain this huge degree of spinal flexion that we've imparted to our body, I like you to tuck your toes under and then drift your hips back towards your heels. So remaining with that high degree of flexion to feel like a nice release. Going to drift back forward, and we're going to reverse this. We're going to lower the chest in between the arms, spiral the elbows in towards your center line. Take the back of the head, pull it to the sky, and flip the tailbone up to the sky. And same thing, drift the hips back towards the heels. And the stretch is going to feel a little different. Now we're going to hold back here and bring flexion to the spine and extension to the spine. So it's kind of like working cat-cow in the back position. Woo! And do that a couple more times. And then hold the flexion. Keep the spine flexed as you come back forward, shoulders over wrists. Reverse the spinal aspects, flipping the tailbone, pulling the back of the head to the sky, and letting the chest lower down in between the arms as you spiral the elbows inwardly. Take another big breath in, making sure your toes are tucked as you exhale. Elevate the knees slightly, and then lower back down. Relax everything. Re-engage. Lift up and lower down. So it's just a movement of an inch or so of your knees up and off the earth. And you're going to go at your own rate here. Slower is better, believe it or not. Let's do this a couple more times. And everyone, hold in the up position as you draw your hips upward and backward to down dog. Walk your hands now back towards your feet. Keep folded, but inhale and extend to a flat back. Exhale, fold. Now, hold the fold. Straighten the legs. Straighten them a little more if you can. Take a couple breaths and see if you can bring any more straightness to your legs right now. Draw back the hips. Get more weight to the heel. Now, hold on that as you inhale, extend to a flat back. As you exhale, let the upper body flex down. See if you can drift back a little more with your hips and see if you can straighten the legs a little more if you can. Deep, deep, deep tissue pull here. Inhale, extend to a flat back. Keep the back in extension, draw the hips backwards, straighten the legs a little more if you can. Exhale, fold, and Pilates style. Tuck the pelvic girdle under and then start stacking vertebrae by vertebrae as you come up to a standing position. Inhale, sweep arms up to salute the sun. Pull those arms long. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, bring hands over heart. Well, good morning. We're not done. Just getting started. That was our warm-up, believe it or not. Hopefully you've got a little bit of energy in the body now as we step the right foot forward. We're going to bring that back heel, the left heel, to the earth. So positionally, we want to have just enough separation of the legs where we have good balance. And we have both feet flat to the floor as we chop through the hips and pull that upper body down towards that right leg. I like to try to keep the wiggle from side to side in control, best you can. Hands are on hips or hands over heart if you prefer. We're going to make the chest nice and proud. So hands on hips is a little more useful for this because we have the elbows out to the side, and I like you to kind of pull the elbows together in the back of the body. And as you do so, you might feel the chest expand a little bit. I want you to meet the chest expansion with six-pack muscle activation.
Is the front leg straight or bent?
Both legs are straight, sweetie. So we're going to keep the
This is the chop point. I'm gonna fold in a little more and squeeze those elbows. Now avoid neck compression, right? We just want to keep the neck neutral, long. And we want to make sure our head isn't falling off the body. See if you can bring it in a little bit deeper. And then a little bit more if you can. Hold on this and then come all the way back up to stand. I'm gonna keep on this leg now, coming off the heel. So we're on toes on that back foot. Once again, we're gonna come into the chop point of the hips, hands on the hips to begin to fold forward. Now, initiate a little bit of a push backwards from the front leg. And if you can, I'd like you to try to push the heel into the earth as you grow the spine. You should feel a nice little burning sensation in that back part of the body, known as your gluteals. Hopefully you've got that. And then come back up to standing, switch up sides. Remember, we're starting both feet straight, forward, flat to the floor, both legs straight. Hands on hips as we lean in. Now we're holding these poses for a little bit, and it's fine. I want to make sure we're stable through all of this process. So it's important to keep active with that chest being proud and that abdominal six-pack muscle being active. So we have support for our low back as we squeeze the elbows together, try to keep neck decompressed. And lean in a little more if you can. Remember, we kind of played around with some of the depth here. And then come back up to standing. No, sorry, come back up, the body upright, come up under the toes of that back foot now. Same thing, chopping through that left hip, folding down, increasing the range of motion, keeping that chest proud, keeping those elbows rotating backwards and keeping that neck decompressed. Come down deeper, little lower, spine extending, we're not flexing through it, keep it in extension, little deeper, and then a rise with the upper body, step that back foot forward, switch up sides. We're gonna start up on the toes this time. Finding a nice separation. We're gonna bring a bend to that front knee, and we're gonna let the knee kind of push forward of those toes of ours, and I'm gonna bring hands over heart for this. So we're gonna hold nice and tall for the upper body, and we're gonna let that knee kind of piston forward and back. So we're really kind of pushing forward the front part of the foot right now, which means our quadriceps are gonna be more active, even though all of the other muscles related to our joint movement are still going to be working. You might feel a little bit more of your gluteal active because we worked it too. So we got both sets, front and back, muscles working with our extension. This is really a great exercise for our joint mobility on those lower joints. All right, now holding back, keeping the legs straight. See if you can initiate a little bit of push to the heel of that right foot. Extend the arms out now, and that's going to increase the work on those gluteals on the right side of the body. If it feels like too much, you can always revert to hands over heart. Holding on this though, working some isometric work here. Keeping that glute nice and strong and nice and active. Arms have to lean forward. I'm going to reach, and then come back, switch up sides. Woo! Shake it out if you need to. I do. Stepping back, up on the toes. Left knee now is going to shift forward, and we're going to basically piston front to back. You'll notice that as we translate forward to back, our bodies might want to do some funky things. That's basically spiral or wobble. I'd like you to try to control those aspects of your movement to minimize them as best you can. Pushing from the front. When you reach a certain point, your heel's able to push a little better too. So as you rise back and hit that point, try to drive with the heel and push forward. Front part of the foot pushing to start, back part of the foot pushing to finish. High on those toes with that back foot. That's what's driving the work forward, giving us the workload we're experiencing. All right, come back up, straighten the leg, hold it straight, lean it in, hold on this, and extend the arms forward. Now reach forward more. Give me a deeper reach. Pull, pull, pull. And inhale. Exhale, hands over heart, back footsteps forward. Shake that one out if you need to. Shake what your mama gave you. I'm going to step back to the back parts of the mat simply because I got a fan overhead. And we're going to bring the arms up, and I don't want to smack into it. You don't need to move if you don't want to. We're going to reach high, high, high. And then we're going to take our right hand and wrap it over the left wrist. I'm going to keep my left fingers separated nice and widely. We're going to make sure we're not far back. We want the arms out so we have the lats able to kind of lengthen with minimal compression in the neck. So I'm using my right hand to actually pull my left arm long, and I'm going to use my right arm to pull the left arm across the center line or midline of the body. And as I bring it to the right, I'm going to take my hip, push it to the left, and circle it backwards ever so slightly, and then come all the way back up to standing. Switch sides. Left hand grabs right wrist, pulls the arm long, pulls it across the midline of the body, drives that right hip outwards, and then rotates that hip backwards, pulling long and strong, coming back. Switching sides. Right hand, left wrist, pull the arm long, pull it across the midline. Shoot out, no, push out that left hip, rotate it backwards, come back up, and switch sides. We're going to move on. That's our last pull and stretch that side body. It should feel really good. Coming back up now, let the arms relax, shake them out. Come on down on the mat. How's that for smooth transition? All right, a little bit of cheers, a little bit of morning water, a little bit of a break. All right. My butt is about halfway back my mat. I've had both heels on the corners. Sounds like we're in a boxing match. And in this corner, there's had both heels on the corners, and I have my feet flexed, so they're pulling in towards the shin. We got those shin muscles nice and active. We're going to take our tailbone, we're going to kind of roll back on it, and then I'm going to roll up with the assistance of hands so we kind of feel like a little click, click. That's really getting on with your sit bones. And those are little protuberances, the bony protuberances of your pelvic girdle. Like you kind of be up there as best you can as you take the hands, bring them forward. So I have a nice width to the hands themselves, right? I'm going to take my shoulders, sweep them forward, and now I'm going to do two things simultaneously. Throw the spine as I pull the shoulders backwards, crowding out the chest, right? Folding in and crowding out. Do that a couple more times. So we're working some of our spinal mobility and shoulder mobility as we sit here and do this. And I said couple, that's a Sean couple, which means several repetitions here. All right, now hold it up, sweep up the arms, find the height you can bring them to, and then that height is one where you start to see compromise of your stability, like compression happening. And at that height, whatever it is, you'll notice you can get a certain point where you just feel like it gives in. You're gonna back off of that just ever so slightly so we can be in control of our spinal column and keep this nice and long and engaged. Now, spiral the thumbs down and in, spiral them open. So we're just moving, rotating the arms, keeping the elevation, and working our shoulders internally and externally as we hold here. Now, bring hands back over heart, Pilates style, roll it back down onto the mat. Extend the legs all the way straight.
Just a friendly reminder to not fall asleep. We're not done. Okay, so using your heels as a hinge, I like you to flex the feet, rotate the big toes in to touch, and then rotate them externally. So that hopefully you can get a little bit of rotational effort that's significant in its range. And if not, we're going to work on this a few repetitions, rolling in, rolling out. And then we're going to hold the toes facing up to the sky as we step the feet 1 inch or 2, just a short amount. Now, pelvic rocking. With the feet elevated, with the knees bent ever so slightly. I'd like you to kind of roll onto your tailbone and then roll back until you feel the low back skin kind of touch. And if it doesn't touch, it's fine. It's more the activation of the forward and down and backing up of the pelvic girdle that we're working on right now. So we're just working and rocking that structure forward and back. And now we're going to hold it in the back position. And we're going to engage our six-pack muscles, making sure that our feet are hip-width apart as we rotate our thighs into touch. And we bring our big toes along for the ride. When the big toes come in to connect to each other, I'd like you to pull them up towards the shins as best you can. So you get those shin splint muscles active, highly active. And keep those muscles active as we add on to the muscle activation by squeezing your thighs. Squeeze them hard. Keep the feet flexed. Sprout out the chest. Lower your arms beside the body. Cup the fingers so the fingertips are your touch point of the hands. Sprout out the chest as you push your heels into the earth, but more importantly, as you squeeze those thighs of yours together. Keep the feet flexed best you can. And then lower back down, extend it all the way out and reach opposite direction with hands and toes. Big breath in, exhale. We're going to do this exercise again. We know the setup, so let's get into it. And while we work to get into it, I'm going to remind you. Flexion in the feet. We've done that little bit of pelvic rocking. We got the thighs squeezing, and we're going to push our hips up off the earth. We're going to hold here a little longer than last time. I'm going to ask you to squeeze those thighs a little longer and a little harder, and flex the feet a little more, and then lower down and extend the legs and arms all the way up. Whew. Great job. Now bring the hands over your chest, chin drops into that chest of yours, and Pilates style, come all the way up into staff. Arms extended, staff pose. Take your head, lower to the right, come back center, and then lower to the left. And just oscillate like a wave motion from side to side. Lower the arms. Keep the chest nice and proud. Bring the arms down beside the body and continue with the side to side. Now come back up straight. Let's take your chin, and I'd like you to rotate it towards the right shoulder, and then the clavicle, the bone. I'd like you to drop down the chin towards the bone, raise it back up, come back center, and do the opposite side. Now, Kirsten is demonstrating with the assistance of hand, and this is a progression really. So we've done a couple repetitions, side to side, and now we're going to progress. So let's come back head on center, and we're going to just take a little cupping. I use the finger and thumb, and I just put it on my jaw, and I make sure I've got a little bit of stability in the jaw. So I'm not just letting the bottom of the jaw slide out. I have some engagement of muscle through the jaw of mine as I begin to push, and I'm not pushing hard, just giving a little bit of resistance. I'm going to slowly guide my head with resistance
back to what we started before we did the chin dip, and then dip down with the chin, raise that chin back up, come back to the center line, switch up sides, slowly guiding with resistance, slowly lowering with resistance, coming back up and sweeping back. Do this a couple more times, slow, slow, slow. You might hear popping, it might feel good to get a nice release of the muscles we're actually stretching out right now. Enjoy the process. And when you're ready, when you're all ready to meet, just shake it out and relax. Drop your chin down onto your chest. Flexion to the spine, let the center of the spine kind of shoot back. Walk your hands into the middle part between your legs, and then walk the fingers while you keep the flexion in the spine. And let that head descend. Walk the fingers forward, walk them, walk them, walk them. Hold when you kind of get to the spot where I don't think I can go any further. Take a few breaths. See if you can walk it a little more. You might find acceptance, a bigger range of motion from your muscles. And if it's there, take it right now. With your hands remaining extended out, fingertips on the floor, I'm going to inhale and extend to a flat back. By extension of the back, I'm going to meet by walking back the hands, keeping the spine extended. And then I'm going to start the process again. Dropping the chin, spine goes into flexion, hands start walking, going all the way along, reaching my maximal. Maybe I went a little farther this time, maybe. When I hit that point, I'm going to extend the spine as I inhale and walk the hands back. So we're just working thoracic extension and flexion, spinal mobility, always good. One more time, I'm going to drop and walk. Inhale, extend, and walk it back. Great job. All right, let's come down onto our backsides. Oh, good morning. When we arrive on the mat, I'm going to keep that left foot posted, but I'd like you to take the foot and walk it slightly wider out than your hip. And then I'm going to bring the knee into alignment where it's straight up and down as opposed to angling in. So we're going to hold that foot in place. And we're going to do a little bit of pelvic rocking. So I want you to rock forward, then walk back, rock forward, and rock it back. Hold back. Take the right foot over, and the foot anchors on the thigh. Figure 4. Now, while we hold in this, we're going to use our right knee as kind of a driver of action through the right hip. So I'd like you to try to pull the knee away from the body and then let it rotate into the body. The hinge point is really the foot on our thigh. So if we open and close, we're working on the mobility of our hip, the right hip, of course. And on this effort, we're going to hold out. And while you hold out, I'd like you to push the right foot into the left thigh. And while you keep that muscle activation, I'd like you to use the muscles of the medial or inside leg, the inner thigh muscles, to help pull the right leg towards you as you maintain the push of the foot into the thigh. And do that a couple more times. See if you can extend the range of motion on the out and on the in, but don't compromise the stability of your body. So nothing else is really moving. All right, so let's set up for the opposite side. Same thing, anchoring and open and close. Remember, you've done that little pelvic rock to get the low back skin on, and then we're exhibiting range of motion efforts between the open and close. So we're really just in essence lengthening, stretching, warming these muscles. Now we're going to use them. So in the out position with the knees out, I'd like you to make an effort to push the right foot onto that left thigh. And then keep that effort in place as you use the muscles of the inner thighs to help pull that left knee towards your body as far up as you can. And then use the muscles to resist the opening. The other ones are going to be more dominant. So it's a push and pull. It's a great stretch and it's a good exercise on these internal and external rotators. The hip. Do a few more repetitions, again, slow repetitions. And then when you're ready, left foot returns to the floor. Bring the sides of your feet to the edges of the mat. And then turn your toes in towards the center line. And if you can, you should be able to now, relatively easy, bring the thighs together. So we have the thighs together. We're going to walk the feet forward. So we're not walking the feet into the midline of the body. We're just going to trace the edges of the mat and walk the feet far forward. And we're going to maintain that internal rotation. So if we do that, we're going to walk them back slowly. So we're going to keep the thighs squeezing as we walk back the feet. And then we're going to walk back out again. Just step by step. It's kind of like maybe a wiggle. Maybe you have to slide. Maybe you have to do whatever you need to do. But just do it all the way out. And then all the way back in. Keep the thighs pushing together and keep those feet nice and wide. Oh, it's killing my little muscles on those hips. This is a good exercise to kind of make them feel involved. Now, on this last rep, we're going to extend the legs all the way out. We're going to basically roll in and out with the feet again to kind of loosen up all of those muscles we just worked. You can go at any speed you want. All right, now I'm going to plant the feet back. I'm going to reach up above my chest with the hands, and I'm going to come up Pilates style, vertebrae by vertebrae. And I'm going to dive down and extend all the way through. As I inhale, extend. I'm going to let the fingertips slide back down. And then I'm going to come back down Pilates style with hands over heart. Oh, this time. And then I'm going to separate my arms so that their elbows are shoulder height on the ground. Making goalposts, if you will, out of my hands. Making goalposts out of my arms. Now, where those elbows of yours locate is all dependent upon existing mobility in the shoulder. And as best you can, I like you to try to keep the elbows as high or up far enough away from the hips as possible. So we have 90 degrees in the elbow. And then we're going to take the right hand, we're going to sweep it backwards, keeping the 90 degrees in the elbow. And then come back up and switch it to the left. So we're going to just bilateral work here, alternating between sides, right and left. So this is not a big exercise, it's more of a warming exercise. And now that we've got those muscles warmed up, we're going to take both hands together. While we do this, I'd like you to proud out the chest and see if you can get the middle part of your spine up off the earth. And while it reaches up, I'd like you to keep the chest nice and proud. And then I'd like you to try to rock your pelvic girdle using your pubis as kind of the guide. You're kind of like pumping into the air and drawing the low back onto the mat. And then you're going to roll onto the tailbone and separate the back off the mat. And you're going to do that a few more times. All right, so now we're going to hold the back down. We're going to bring rotate both forearms back up so the hands are aiming up at the sky. And now we're going to do the internal rotation by lowering them forward. Now let's just alternate. We'll do right first, and then left,
and then just flipper between the two. So slow, not just fast and flipping around. Try to get as much range forward. Now, when you come forward, take a registration of your shoulder. Is it jumping up off the mat? And if it is, only bring the forward motion to the point where you can maintain shoulder stability. So how far you lower down is what I'm talking about. When you low and you pop the shoulder blade, you've gone too far. So all made a few more times. You might find that the range of motion increases with a little bit of practice. That's great, good stuff. Now hold up both together simultaneously, lower down. And this is going to be a little harder because we can't really cheat this as much. You'll notice right away when your shoulders pop. So come back to start, roll back down, and then between start and the rotation, inward rotation that is, I'd like you to try to find bigger range of motion. Try not to flap through the wrists. This is all about the forearm moving down and up and the shoulders remaining stable. Come back up, shoot your hands up into the sky, bring the palms into touch, interlock the fingers. Use those interlocked fingers. Now I want you to take your thumbs, which should be adjacent to each other, and rotate the tips towards the front of the hand, and then vertebrae by vertebrae, come all the way up to a seated position. Dive the hands between the feet and extend those arms all the way up. As you inhale, extend to a flat back. Take your right foot, step it out. Take your take your right heel and step it out to the right corner of the mat. And then form a 4 with the foot. You're going to take your left hand, you're going to plant it down and bring your right hand onto that left thigh and then extend the spine. So very important here is we don't want to ratchet and cause compression. We want to decompress the spine, grow it long. And while it's growing long, we just want to use a little bit of assistance to kind of rotate the spinal column. Get a nice little stretch of our rotators, those very small muscles. They provide spinal integrity and neutral spine. Release that, switch up sides. Set up the side, same as the other side. As you release the breath, come back around to the front, extend both legs, and then walk the hands. So now you have these small muscles that secure every 3 joints of the spine. Going to give them a nice stretch. Going to bring lots of flexion to the spine, lots of length. Now, as we extend, we're contracting those muscles, the multifidus. They're going to stabilize the spine. We're going to keep the spine long, come all the way up. We're going to stretch them out by flexing the spine and walking forward. There's other structures that are stretching now as we do this, but this is in particular for those muscles. Now, inhale, extend to a flat back. And you can tell, like when we do this when we're standing, there's a lot more work for them. Gravity affects, those muscles more because there's more load put into them. On this next exhale, we're going to kind of come back up Pilates style. I like you to round in and then get onto those sit bones of yours and then start stacking vertebrae by vertebrae as we come back into stack pose. Let's bring hands over heart. Now, flexing the feet, extending the feet, pushing the palms together, elevating the elbows so the fingers are rotating in towards our chest, keeping those palms pushing. Try to bring those elbows up a little higher, grow the spine, take a big breath, and as you exhale, extend the hands forward on top of your toes. Now, just enough depth where the heel of the hand is on the tops of the toes. If you can get there, if you can't, you can always bend your knees, get them a little closer. Now, with arms, I'd like you to proud out the chest, and you're going to start to feel a nice pull along those muscles. Now, if you can, if you had to bend your knees, see if you can straighten them a little more.
and if it's not there, don't worry about it. This is more for the bottom of the foot. I'd like you to pull long, and if you have legs straight, you might notice pull all the way up into the back part of the knee. Keep the chest nice and proud, pull a little more, ride those heels out, big inhale, exhale, release everything, come back into a seated position. Legs crossed the way that you prefer. With this, we're going to do one more stretch. My wife's all big. Take your right hand up. This is for your QL, your quadratus lumborum. It's a nice muscle that helps to stabilize your lower back, but it often gets abused when we sit for long periods of time. We're using it a lot today. Just want to give it a little bit of love. And come over one side more. Sorry, one time more each side. Are you touching me? That's inappropriate. Oh. Come back, center. Now bring hands over heart. And let me thank you for your great participation today. Thanks for joining us. Namaste. Oh, lovely day.
We got the whole gang except for Mr. N.